Okay, here we are at the Skinningrove project again, and as anybody who saw the previous film would notice, there's been a lot of changes. You can see that the polytunnels that we weren't very impressed with originally, we took the covers off, and it looks like we may be converting one, just here, into a fruit cage. We'll take the shelving out, put it into the cage over that side, so you'll have plenty of growing areas underneath. You'll have the shelving for doing potting on and actually getting some plants prepared. Hopefully we can turn that back into a polytunnel. Now that might be quite hard, but with a bit of work, a bit of jiggling around, then we'll get the plastic over it. The same area here can be used for building up some cold frames. We've got plenty of hard ground here, see it's paving slabs. It is hard ground everywhere. Put cold frames on here, so what we take from the polytunnel can go straight into the cold frames, hardening off before it's used in the planting areas, which are just beyond this, and as you can see, the fruit trees now. It's also a much better view as you walk into the garden from over that side. Excuse me. You can look in now and you see the garden straight away, not a polytunnel with tatty plastic that looked awful. Now you see straight in, and what we're hoping to develop on the fruit cage here is a nice walkway to go in with fruit cages either side here and a nice walk-in effect going straight in, and that'll take you to the garden proper, which we will now go into and have a good look at what's been happening there. Right, here's the garden proper, and as you can see again, there's been a lot of changes. In the corner over that side, where it's a bit unsightly at the moment, we're hoping to build a terraced effect against the fencing there. So you'd have three different types of growth in there. We'll have flowers, probably herbs near the top, the next terrace is down, where there could be small vegetable areas and maybe some fruit as well. But the beds here will be carved into 4 separate ones. Small herb beds at the very front, the terrace effect over there, and probably vegetables in this corner. And already we've been working at removing some of the older soil, so we can create a nicer feature here where people can walk in, a nice concrete pathway coming through, and behind, you won't be able to see it, but from behind there will also be pots, planters, everything to make a nice colourful effect against the wall. As we look further into the gardens, you can see that there's quite a lot of features that need to be looked after. There's these old barrels, we'll repair them. Over there, we've already had a work on the raised beds, we've been painting them up, see if they're still good for functioning, good for working with, and it turned out they were perfectly alright. There's other beds further across near to the old polytunnels. We've been weeding those out, checking what herbs are in there, and they're going to be renovated, painted up and made to look really nice as well. The flat area that's all around here, we hope to make longer raised beds for vegetables to go in. We'll have a variety of things growing, and we'll try to do it so it's seasonal. As the months go by, the crops will change within those beds, so people can see that by using organic growing methods, plenty of organic matter itself, the manures, the composts, you can actually get quite a lot of crops over a whole year. You don't have to stop growing just because it's winter. You can get different types of vegetables in the same areas. But all across here as well, we'll get it covered over, maybe decorative stones, some mulches, because you don't want the weeds coming through, because grass will grow everywhere, the weeds will come through. But we will use as much land as possible for growing. A really nice area on this garden is just across over there, is where the fruit trees are. So they're not looking very healthy at the moment, but come the spring, they'll be full of life again. And actually, where the terrace, well, we don't know what to call it really, it looks like a structure. Where that's being built, we'll get that decorated up, make it look nice, and the roses then will look really good when they come out in flower. The trees, we'll get them pruned down, making them look very good, the way they should look a bit untidy at the moment. But across into the centre, we'll probably put a seating area, somewhere people can sit down, look at nature all around them, and have smaller growing areas. The whole of the garden will be in full use, we hope, by the springtime. It's a great little site, it's got masses of potential, and hopefully come the springtime this is going to look absolutely beautiful, and it'll be in full use for the residents of Skinningrove and the surrounding areas to come in, learn about horticulture, and actually just enjoy the peacefulness. It is so quiet in here. And here's a nice little feature right in the centre of the little garden, a lovely little pond we're hoping to build this up a lot more around here, because as you can see, this is bending out quite badly at the moment, but get some soil in there, some stumps, little stumps, stones, build it up, strengthen all of that, and do the same on the other side. It'll make a beautiful feature, especially as we get some really attractive plants in there that look to be close to water. Now there's some little fish in there, so we're going to be careful about the kind of work that we do. We don't want the fish to die. And it's also, if we do this right, we should attract quite a lot of toads, frogs, little amphibian types that live in there and actually become our little slug eaters, because as they always say, you don't have a slug problem really, you've just got a shortage of ducks or a shortage of toads. They eat all the little beasties for you. But this is a gorgeous feature and it'll look fantastic when we build it up. And like I say, with some nicer plants in there, it'll really set all this off beautifully.